While defending his cattle, a rancher accidentally kills a Native American man. He was convinced what he saw was some sort of beast. Could the man and the creature be one and the same?
This is not happening.
Hello and welcome to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast.
I'm not a killer. And I never meant to hurt no one. But I'm tired of my cattle being butchered 100 miles from the slaughterhouse. That's the fourth one this month alone.
And who or what do you think was responsible?
Look, mister, that cow looked like a piece of paper that had gone through a shredder. I don't know of no animal that could have done that.
Then are you saying that a person or persons was responsible for this?
I want to remind you that Mr. Parker is free on bond pending trial. He's willfully speaking with you solely in regards to this incident and not about any other pending litigation.
So we can't talk about Mr. Parker's federal court case against the Treco Indian Reservation.
That's exactly what I mean.
Now, wait just a damn second.
Jim, don't say a word.
No, this ain't the time for that lawyer crap. I want to get this out in the open. You people think I went and killed me an Indian just because we're having an argument about where my land ends and their land begins.
We want to settle that peacefully in court.
Well, Joseph Goodensnake is dead with a wound from your shotgun to indicate otherwise.
All I'm saying, it was no kind of animal that I know of. But it damn well didn't seem human neither that night. Take a look at my boy's scars. It was dark. We heard a growl. We went out there to protect the cattle. I could have swore I saw red eyes and fangs. I thought my boy Lyle was... Look, nobody was more shocked and upset than I was to find out it was that young Indian boy. But if he was the one that was killing our cattle, I'm very, very sorry that we had to find out about it that way. But as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it.
All right, welcome to the show, everyone. I am your host, Mike. How are you doing?
Very well tonight, Mike.
Well, today we are covering Shapes, directed by David Nutter and written by Marilyn Osborne. This is her only episode, I believe.
I think it's also the first episode written by a woman.
You could be very right.
I haven't done the catalog to sort of see what the spread is, but
I'm pretty sure there are several more, but you could be right here. Might be the first one.
To be fair, she's written other things. She wrote 3 episodes of a show called Space Above and Beyond. I think David Nutter's also worked on that one. So they know each other. Yeah.
Any initial impressions for the audience?
It's the werewolf episode that never says the word werewolf.
Okay.
I think they probably got a note from Fox execs saying, can we please have some more monsters, please?
Yeah, probably. They needed something different, something creaturey, so we could get back to the strict monster aspect of the show.
Yeah. If you're going to do a monster of the week, then please provide us with a monster.
The crowd...
Aliens are not cutting it.
The Fox crowd is very literal, so...
Yeah.
They want a monster.
No, I thought it was a good episode. I mean, I don't have anything to begrudge it. I like Ty Miller. I mean, he's totally a stalwart. He's in many of the X-Files episodes coming up. He's in a lot of good stuff, and he's a solid actor. We don't get a lot of him in this episode, but he definitely lends some credibility to it as a rancher. I do love that they set... they set a big open skies episode in, they had to find a place in Vancouver to film it.
This episode, right off the bat, earns a lot of points with me just for the setting. I am on board already. Just the location, the way it looks, the overcast mountainous terrain. I just love it.
Are you a cowboy fan? Are you like into Westerns and stuff?
I mean, I like them. I wouldn't say... Like I need it in my life, but it's just I don't know.
Do you have a wagon wheel coffee table?
I do.
Oh, well, there you go.
I've even got one of those millstones in my backyard that we decorate with flowers. And I also, once a year, all year, I will travel from one end of the country to the other in a wagon.
No kidding. The original Oregon Trail.
It takes all year. This is really my weekend right now.
Well, okay.
I got a couple hours to spare.
That wagon is tricked out with Wi-Fi. You are recording it in the wagon.
Yeah, that squeaking is the wheels.
Yeah. We're moving across the plains.
Let us not dawdle. Let's dive into the episode here and
let it take shape before us.
Yes, here we go.
That's all I got. I just don't have a lot to work with here. Shapes is the name of the episode, so it's not going to get any better unless I start talking about rhomboids or something.
Lycanthropy.
That is they should have just called it, lycanthropy. Or
Right.
the Manitou. That would have been a nice name for this episode.
An interesting, I will get to this later, but
Okay.
Manitou is open to interpretation. So, we open thunder and lightning, shots of taxidermied animals all about, and a man is loading his gun. It's an older man, and he is with his son. They both have guns. They go outside because their animals are stirring. Naturally, they split up. The young
As you
man
do.
searches. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's nighttime, by the way, so vision is limited. But we find out we are in Browning, Montana, and the young man goes to search a shed with a light and his gun. We get a short glimpse of an upright, hairy shoulder kind of come into frame.
I don't think I caught that, no.
Once he goes through the gate, you kind of see something come into frame, and then it cuts away. As he goes through another door towards the back of the shed, he spots a dead cattle and investigates it. He looks visibly disturbed. The cow is not just dead, it is destroyed. He stands up, he hears a low growl. As he gathers his courage, he walks back to the barn, his gun ready, but is then ambushed from behind by a hairy beast. His father comes to save the day, shooting his assailant. As he tends to his son real quick, the older man looks up and sees a dead body. What appears to be red candle wax dripping from his chest.
Yeah, not a convincing.
And then we
blood
cut to credits.
That's probably the worst, stage blood effect.
It's like Hershey's strawberry syrup. Very, very bright.
Why does it have to be red, first of all?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess so it shows up, but I gotta say the flashlights for this episode, whenever they use a flashlight to illuminate an area, they seem to be intentionally underpowered because they don't actually do anything.
They just light the beam that they're shooting.
and not really even.
Yeah.
Like they didn't put down any, mist for the beam to go through.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's to keep it claustrophobic and dark, to the episode's credit, but I just feel like there are better flashlights. Come on.
I would agree with that. This is woefully unuseful.
Well, I like this opening sequence. It's moody. It's got really nice lighting. I mean, the X-Files always done well with the outdoor night lighting stuff. Lots of little spotty areas, light beams hitting people in the face so you can just see their eyes. It's very well shot. Mm-hmm. As an opener, like, they clearly took their time to do this and they did it right. And it's apart from the flying wolf, when Lyle, I think his name is Lyle. When he gets attacked by it, it looks like they literally took a fake wolf and threw it at him. And it's just a little clip, but on the playback, it just looks really, really bad. It just looks like they just chucked a wolf at him.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But there's another one of those scenes later on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They do a couple of tricks to try and intensify the action, because this is going to be an action show, damn it.
Yeah, and to its credit, it's more interesting than, say, Miracle Man.
Fair enough. It's like we almost just reviewed that or something.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So after the credits, we cut to the inside of the ranch. The older man, his son, a lawyer, and Mulder and Scully, and they are recounting what happened that night. The old man insists he's not a killer, he never meant to hurt anyone, but he's tired of his cattle getting killed. And I think that's understandable.
Yeah, I'd be tired. I'd be sick and tired of my cattle getting killed if that was the case.
My livelihood? Just deal with it.
Yeah.
I should say that their name is Lyle and Papa Parker, because
they don't give.
We should give them names.
Name. Yeah.
I like to call him Canadian Sam Elliott. Because that's essentially who he is.
Listen, it's the mustache which is making you say that, because he's had roles where he doesn't have the mustache, so you could not call him Canadian Sam Elliott.
I know, but I do want to take this moment. He is played by Donnelly Rhodes, and he does appear in Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man. So I am happy to see him twice. He does a great job in this episode. Great voice. I think he only comes back for that episode, but yeah, good actor.
Yeah, he's also in Battlestar Galactica, the remake.
He is.
The Doctor, but...
Doc Cottle.
Does he not have another role in the X-Files? I thought he did, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's just these 2 episodes. I could be mistaken, but
Listen,
check IMDb.
you continue, and I may just, do a little clicky-click in the background.
I want to mention also that the lawyer appears in Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose as one of the detectives.
Oh, you're right. I knew I saw him from somewhere else.
Sans handlebar mustache.
Yeah, well, this is how you get multiple uses out of the same actor as you put on glasses or a mustache or clean shaven, and you get like 3 different characters.
Yeah. The father is visibly upset. Obviously, he is on the line for having killed a man, but he says what he saw was not a man, and he certainly didn't do it on purpose. The cattle that they found looked like it had gone through a paper shredder, and he doesn't know any animal that could do that. His lawyer is trying to stop him from saying anything incriminating because he does have a pending trial, and that he's speaking on his own volition. Parker isn't so interested in the lawyer crap, is he? He's very insistent that he wants to get his story out. They think that I went and killed myself, a Native American, just because we're having a beef over land, and that's not what happened. So
he's very cowboy, isn't he? Like, he's got that Western sense of honor. It's like, I'm not going to hide behind some lawyer. I'm going to tell it. I'm going to straight shoot her and give you the real truth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're naturally inclined to be like, okay, so this is his story, and we have to believe it because he's so forthright and cowboy honest about it.
Yeah. And he does a very good job of laying it out there. I think he's very great job to the actor. I think he just gives off that authenticity.
Well, to be fair, the mustache is doing the heavy lifting.
Oh, well, yeah. Without the mustache, I don't believe a word this
I don't
fucker
believe
says.
him. He just needs a cigarette and a lab coat, and then I'd believe it, maybe. But
Mulder takes a moment to inspect the young Parker's scars, and the older one continues. He was defending his cattle. He thought his boy Lyle was dead. And then here's where he gets emotional. He says nobody was more upset about the fact that it turned out to be a Native American man. But as far as he's concerned, if that's who was killing his cattle, then that's the end of it. It was not a purposeful act.
I think he's implying that if the guy was responsible for killing his cattle, then he deserved to get killed.
Well, yes, definitely. But I mean, he did not set out to kill a person. He set out to kill an animal that he...
Which, if you think about it, would be a pretty elaborate way to kill somebody, is to somehow entice them to come into your property. Like, I'm sure that there are some stand your ground laws in effect, which would totally cover him in this case.
Yeah, I would imagine there's something.
Guy was on my property. I shot him. Why are we even talking about this?
But then those tree huggers, man, they're going to make sure you go down. Those
They
bleeding heart liberals.
You down.
As the agents leave, Lyle speaks with them for a moment. He says he understands the story's odd. He's not even sure he would believe it. But the last few months, he has noticed that no predators have been around, and he can feel something inhuman watching. The air is still, the animals are quiet. It's as if nature herself was scared.
He acts the shit out of that scene, doesn't he?
He does.
He's looking off stage. He's delivering a soliloquy to the audience. It's
those eyes, man. You just get lost in those marbles.
It's true.
I have a 38-year-old crush on him now, looking at him.
It's fair, actually. I don't want to admit to it, but I do too. No, I do like that Scully makes light of the creeps. It just gives you the creeps, and she's like, the creeps? Like she's never heard this term before.
Exactly. Who hasn't heard this?
I think it's a bit weird, but
Mulder gives her a weird look.
Maybe she's just trying to get him to talk more. You know. What do you mean by the creeps exactly?
From here, we go to the crime scene. Scully is observing the distance between where the shot took place and where the victim was found. And she comes to the conclusion there's no way that Papa Parker couldn't have seen who he was shooting at. So she's surprised Mulder's interested in this case. It's very open and shut. And in typical Mulder fashion, he is ignoring her completely.
Yeah. He's running his own crime scene.
He is observing footprints in the ground, in the mud, because of course it's raining. And he notices it goes from human to a strange, oddly fake-looking paw.
Okay, I got a couple of questions about this particular moment in the episode. The first would be, Scully is so quick to make the judgment call that there's no way that he wouldn't have seen his assailant here, that he could just, why would you mistake that it wasn't a human? But
She obviously doesn't know what flashlights they were using.
and it was dark. It was at night. They were, dark with just those crappy flashlights. I could see an extenuating circumstance in the offing there.
I don't think she checked his eye prescription either.
That's true. The other thing is the footprints. Isn't that something you would cast or take a picture of?
No, you observe it and then you clock it. So your internal knowledge, you have it.
Okay.
And then you just relay the information and hope people believe you.
I often come back to Die Hand Die Verlitz, where Mulder looks at the fountain, going backwards.
The impossible
fountain. And I often go back to this. It's like, call NASA. Why are we still investigating? This is like an impossibility of science right here. Get National Geographic on the line. This is a case right here where he's looking at this impossible paw print going, interesting. Let me show you this snake skin I found.
Yeah. So they head back to the car and Mulder lifts up a piece of molted skin.
Yeah.
Scully looks perplexed, but he's keeping this one as evidence. And she is looking at it like, wow, this does look like a snake skin that's been shed. But she thinks that Parker knowingly killed the good and steak boy.
Oh, yeah. She's made up her mind already.
Yeah. It's a little unfair of Scully to say he's just trying to do this on purpose, but...
Again, the fact scenario which leads to the death of Joe Goodensnake is ludicrously against him. Like, he is trespassing. He is, in a cattle herd. They've already had dead cattle there. It's like there are so many ways he is endangering himself to be there that it's surprising to think that he wouldn't have been shot dead.
At the very least, his son was being attacked by something.
Well, that's the other thing, right?
So it's like, okay, on top of trespassing and all this extenuating circumstances, your son is being attacked by something. So you're kind of in your right to defend yourself.
So, like, it'll come up a lot later, like halfway through the episode when we see the wild cats that Mama Parker. Has, as a hobby, seemingly captured and raised in these tiny little cages. So I almost wonder if they have dropped that there as a little gimme to suggest that maybe that's what did the killing, did the attack. But
I mean, I think
we know it's not that.
Yeah, they're showing it as like maybe a possibility. And now Scully knows that these animals are around here, so maybe she can't believe anything else.
But then why even do that? Because as the audience, we already know it's a werewolf. Like, we saw that at the 40-second mark that it was this killer werewolf. So to have that there is to give the characters another explanation. But
yeah,
anyway, I'm way digressing. We'll let you go on.
Our agents pull into an Indian reservation. There are people milling about. They park their car and enter a local bar. As the agents enter, they are getting eyes from everywhere. And Mulder takes this opportunity to shout out for if anyone knows Sheriff Toscani. He gets no answer. And then suddenly, from a chair in the back, he hears,
"Go home up there."
How'd you know?
I could smell you a mile away.
Well, they told me that even though my deodorant's made for a woman, it's strong enough for a man.
I was at Wounded Knee in 1973. And what I learned fighting the FBI is, you don't believe in us, and we don't believe in you.
I want to believe.
Why are you here? What are you looking for?
I think you already know what we're looking for.
You tell me what I know.
We're looking for any individuals who might be able to provide information on the homicide of Joe
We're looking
Good's.
for anything that can create human tracks in one step and animal tracks in the next.
Parker. He found what you're looking for. He killed what you're looking for, FBI.
What Parker and his kid killed was my brother. And you're all too afraid of some stupid Indian legend to do anything. I hate it.
Go ahead.
And I hate suits who are always here when they want something from us. But when we need help, they're nowhere to be found.
Well, except for right now, I suppose, because ostensibly Mulder and Scully are there to help.
She can't think of it that way because her brother was just blown in half. So
she's clearly not a reliable narrator at this point.
Yeah. As she storms off, the camera lingers on the sheriff behind her. It's Toscani. He has entered the scene. He takes the agents to his office, where he's keeping the body for the time being. The sheriff's office is being protected by 2 guardians of the dead who escort the deceased to the new world. But he only lets them as far as the front door. Mulder inquires about the woman and what legends she spoke of, but gets pushed back. I'm not here to answer your questions, Toscani says. But you are entitled to view the body.
I dig the scene. First of all, I like, is that Charlie Horse who plays Toscani? Great turn from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I mean, basically playing the same character, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, and I forget which was first, this episode or Twin Peaks, but either
Twin
way,
Peaks.
like solid actor. But I do like how clearly they've done their homework. At least, I mean, I'm no expert in Native American mythos and all the rest, but in this case, they have created a world in which these characters are living, and it feels legit to me.
It does. It feels authentic.
I also think that you probably couldn't broadcast this unless you had made it compellingly authentic. Because I think they would have gotten so much pushback for making a sanitized version of, the Trago.
Yeah.
So I suspect that this is an actual thing and that they are literally making the Guardians actual, they're drawing from those practices.
I would hope so. I mean,
I would hope so too.
When I watch this episode, I do view, and it could be ignorance, and I fully admit that, but I don't get the idea that they're treating it with carelessness. I feel like they're doing their best to make it as legitimate as possible. Whether they are or not, that's not for me to say.
Yep.
But it does feel respectful. So
I agree.
So the sheriff says they are entitled to look at the body, but that's about it. As they go and inspect, Mulder immediately pulls back the sheet. Scully looks a little disturbed. She says it looks like he may have been attacked by an animal. Toscani says maybe the Parkers did see an animal that night. And Mulder is keying in on the man's face. He opens his mouth, and sure enough, there are large fangs for his canine teeth.
So, question. All right, this is the conceit of transforming into the werewolf and transforming back when you get killed in the werewolf form.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to skip out a little bit to sort of make this all make sense. But essentially, when Lyle transforms into a werewolf, spoilers, Lyle is the werewolf, or will become a werewolf, because that's how you do. It takes him a long time. Like, there's a whole transformation scene, which is actually quite cool.
Yeah.
And when the conceit is when they get killed, they immediately transform back from werewolf form into human form. Like, in a split second, all the fur, all the claws, all the teeth, all goes away, and you're just shot up human. So that in itself I don't like, because it's like, how can that happen? You're either magically transformed and you're this, human 1 second and werewolf the next, or you are American Werewolf in London transformed, where you're like taking 5 minutes to transform. It's really gross and fun to look at. But theoretically, wouldn't it take you 5 minutes to transform back to put everything back where it was? Okay, so that's
Not
problem number one.
world.
I know there's no answer to that. That's just inconsistency. It makes for the nice reveal. It's our way into the plot, basically, because, you shot something and then suddenly it was human. But now the next conceit is, well, wait a second. his teeth didn't go away. He still has these giant pointy incisors. It's like, well, what is it, you know?
Well, those are the slowest things to go back to normal.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
They just hope, they hope you don't see it.
I mean,
before
I
it goes back.
understand that it is a nice little plot point and it propels the plot forward, but it's like, choose your conceit and stick with it. I hate it when they change the rules of the game.
We come back from commercial. We've got x-rays of the man's mouth, and the canines are normal human canines. Scully thinks they could have been switched, but Mulder notices that one of them was chipped, just like, apparently, the huge canines they just found. So it matches to him.
Yep.
It's definitely that.
That is the man.
That's the answer. We're going with it. Sheriff Toscani, actually, he lays out a story like he's trying to solve this. He's being a good lawman. Maybe the fangs caused Parker to fire. You know, he was shining a flashlight. They caught the teeth, and he let loose. It's believable. I like
Case
it.
closed. Go back to Washington.
Mulder's immediately dismissive. Is there any way we can perform an autopsy? And Toscani does not like that idea at all. He goes back and forth with Mulder, but ultimately he says, look, in a couple days, you guys are going to go home and the case is going to be over. But if I desecrate this body, I have to answer to these people. So,
which is a solid, legit, like it's the best part of the plot for me so far.
I believe that 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. It's here where Mulder, he starts pushing his luck a little bit. Mulder asks if he believes the spirit of Joe Goodensnake is in that room because he still is trying to get the autopsy. He's trying to appeal to the man's professionalism to no avail. So as Mulder and Scully go back to the car, they're talking.
Mulder, since we've been here, you've acted as if you've expected to find every piece of evidence that we've come across. What aren't you telling me? Why are we here?
A true piece of history, Scully. The very first X-File, initiated by J. Edgar Hoover himself in 1946. During World War II, a series of murders occurred in and around the Northwest, 7 here in Browning alone. Each victim was basically ripped to shreds and eaten as if by a wild animal. However, many of the victims were found at home, as if they allowed their killer to enter. In 1946, police cornered what they believed to be such an animal in a cabin in Glacier National Park. They shot it, but when they went in to retrieve the carcass, they found only the body of Richard Watkins.
Sounds like the Parker scenario.
The murder stopped that year.
The murders went unsolved, and Hoover locked the cases away, hoping people would forget.
So canonically, this is the first X-File, is what they're saying here.
Sure.
Have they not gone to that well before? I'm thinking of Travelers, where they talk about the X-File case.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a discrepancy there. They never say, I don't believe that what Travelers is the first X-File. But right. Yeah, it's pretty close because at that point they've amassed so many files that they're taking up two letters of the alphabet in files.
Yes.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it should be a U file at that point, right?
Yeah, it should be a U file.
Before she ran a room. I'm just checking to see because he produces the first file.
But on top of that, he reaches for another file that predates the Hoover files by 150 years, and he speaks of Lewis and Clark expedition stories that people witnessed Native American men who can change their shape into that of a wolf. And Scully's like, this is ridiculous. It's lycanthropy. A man believes he can change into a wolf, but no one can actually do that. Because we live in the world we live in.
Because it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And he asks her how she can just dismiss the evidence. And she kind of flies off the handle a little bit. She's like, look, even if you're right, we can't do an autopsy. The funeral is in a few hours. Case is over. Mm-hmm. We can't solve anything. and we can't prove your crazy werewolf theory.
Except, of course, they've already got the evidence that they need to suspect that Lyle Parker is now going to be a danger because Joe Goodensnake had a big scratch, 3 claw mark on his body, and now Lyle's got one.
I'm surprised, and this is probably a huge plot hole, that Mulder didn't make that connection.
He's like, I got to get some silver bullets and shoot Lyle Parker in the head.
Well, because it's like the number one thing everyone knows about werewolves, vampires, if you're bitten, whatever. But come on, Mulder.
Of all people.
Fox Mulder.
Now, what's conspicuously missing in this episode is a full moon.
Well, till the end.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, it should be showing up. It should be showing up. Oh, by the way, did you know it's a full moon tonight?
Is it?
Ooh. Check your windows.
As Scully and Mulder have their little argument, they leave the car, and Scully notices Gwen. She goes up to her and offers her condolences, and Gwen hands her a piece of her brother's belongings. I don't know what to call it.
It has absolutely no relevance to the plot, so it doesn't matter.
No, but she is tasked with giving away his belongings in a sign of sorrow. So she gives one to Scully and has a little...
You know what? That's harsh. I will take it back to say that this is probably evidence of the producers/writers doing their homework. And it's probably a legit tradition. So thank you for including that. But I kind of wish it had a purpose to come back later.
We're going to walk it back, Andrew. You already said it. The words left your lips.
She's about to be eaten by the werewolf, and it stops short because it sees the pouch hanging around her neck. Instantly better episode.
It is here, ladies and gentlemen, that Mulder goes to talk with Sheriff Toscani. He compliments him. A weird moment for Mulder all around.
Yeah.
He compliments him on the report that Toscani wrote about the investigation, as if he needed that.
Yeah. He needs the
approval of
FBI.
Super FBI man. But then he starts in with what I want to know is off the record. What do you think happened? And Toscani rightfully rebuffs. He tells him to go home. Mulder gives it another go. Enough of the mind games. Do you believe in shape-shifting? Because this is appropriate. I like Toscani's reaction. He's like, this is a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And you're coming at me with this stuff. So
save your shapeshifter talk for the office.
Yeah. But I believe it. Like, it's good. It's like Mulder's actually off his nut right now. Show a little respect. But
well, what is he gonna? This is the thing. Like, what if Toscani actually said, "Yep, I totally believe it"?
He just wants to hear a Native American say it. Just say it. I'll go home. No. And here is where we get a very cool, I don't want to say celebration, but like a moment for the young man. Yeah. They are at the funeral pyre. There's drums. There are men who start singing a kind of sorrowful melody.
A chant.
A Native American, chant. Obviously in sorrow for the lost person. It seems to me pretty authentic, but from what I understand, they didn't do funeral pyres. Native Americans. Algonquin, I believe, is the term that they, or the tribe that they mentioned later on in the episode.
Well, so they, I believe, are referring to this tribe as the Tragos.
The Tragos,
and the Ish talks about the Manitou as an Algonquin legend.
Yes.
So I don't think that the tribe we're looking at here is Algonquin. I think they're the Tragos.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
But what we're led to believe is that in this case, this is how they do funerals. So.
Yeah, it's a very cool scene. I like it. Thinking they're actually singing an actual song, maybe, but
I'm sure that they. I would bet they had a handful of consultants on board here saying we need this to be authentic and we want it to be respectful. Mm-hmm. Please help us make it look good.
Yeah,
they just get free rein.
There's a small group of onlookers to show their respects, And as the song continues, we see Lyle approach on horseback from a distance. He takes his hat off, I believe, and watches.
Oh, this is how he shows respect, on horseback.
Oh, yeah. His horse whinnies a little bit, and we see Gwen turn, distracted. She sees him and immediately darts over to him, yelling at him.
Get out of here!
Please, I just want to show my respect.
I don't want your respects. I want your heart to grow cold. I want you to feel what I'm feeling.
I think you better leave, Mr. Parker. I wish your brother could be here. I wish that more than anything else.
And he leaves. We get one last view of the pyre, and the men continue their tribute.
At this point, I thought maybe they were going to set up a Romeo and Juliet kind of affair here.
Oh, interesting. I did not get that.
Yeah, never happened.
Could have been different.
Could have been.
She would have had to kill her lover.
Yeah, exactly.
We fade into the Parker Ranch one more time. Papa is being a good Southerner and having a rocking chair sit, a stogie, and some bourbon.
They
on
are
his
in Montana,
porch.
Sir. That is
No, I know.
You're still thinking of Miracle Man.
You're right. That might be it. But he's enjoying the night, rocking back and forth.
As you do.
And suddenly, it seems like the wind stops blowing. The crickets stop chirping, and he hears a faint growl. He takes a couple steps off of his porch, listens for a little bit, then he notices his wind chimes, shakes his head. He's letting his imagination get to him. Turns around and is ambushed by another creature.
This is one of the worst fights.
It is unfortunate.
Yeah. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to show it moving with inhuman speed with the whole motion blur, but for first season.
That's all right. They do better
as soon
as
as
time
this
goes
scene
on.
opened up, I knew he was a goner. It's like, as soon as you see him rocking alone on that chair, it's like,
oh, yeah.
You are not making it out of this episode alive. Starting 10 seconds from now.
Yeah. So he gets dragged off into the night. We see him getting mauled from a distance out of focus
jostled.
as his drink kind
That
of
is actually
skitters
not
across the floor. We come back, and it is a crime scene officially. Scully is coming out. She is doing her observation of the body. Yeah, he is 100% dead.
No pulse.
No CPR needed.
Should we call somebody?
She says, by the way, he's been attacked. It looks like a large predator or somebody who wanted it to look that way. And she actually asks, do you think it's retaliation for the killing of Good and Snake? Which is
a fair question.
An interesting theory. It's something that I think they would consider as real agents. So she also asks if they've talked to Gwen, and Sheriff Toscani says she's missing and Lyle is missing too. So there's a good chance that maybe he has met an ill fate, because right now it sounds like Gwen is their number one prospect.
Or they've gone off together to start a new life.
That is very possible, sir.
It is entirely
But the way
possible,
she spat at him in the previous scene, I don't know.
That is why you never see it coming.
That was a great show you put on earlier, honey.
Do you think they bought it? Yeah. I can't stop seeing you. Why do I?
While people are actually doing police work, Mulder's off on the tree line, kind of just going for a walk, looking for whatever. And sure enough, near a downed tree, he kneels down and picks up a tuft of Spirit Halloween costume hair.
Mm-hmm.
And nearby, he spots more shed skin.
All right, so it's 94 technology. I guess you can't rush that off to the DNA lab to get it processed. But if it was CSI, they'd have that shit figured out in 12 hours.
Yeah.
You'd have a CGI thing, and it would come up 90% human. Beep, 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 beep.
And then the lab techs would go solve the crime with guns.
That's right. They'd show up in their Humvees.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get that short scene. He picks up another piece of shed skin, and back at the ranch, Scully is looking around, and she sees caged animals, and sure enough, there's a caged mountain lion. She gets frightened and moves on.
Absolutely no relevance to the plot, but yes,
Nope.
it's a wild place.
It's just there.
Montana. Yep.
That's not cool at all,
Yeah.
in my honest opinion.
If you're going to have a giant cat, you got to have the right environment for it.
Right.
It's like if you own a parrot, you really need to have like a freaking solarium for the thing to be able to fly around in. Because
Right.
you put it in a parrot cage and it goes crazy.
Mm-hmm. As she goes through the ranch, the outside, she notices Lyle laying on the ground naked. And here, I wanted to ask your opinion. This is kind of a weird transition for me. She notices Lyle. It cuts to Toscani pulling out a large claw from Papa Parker's body from under the sheet. Mulder is talking to him. And as he does so, Scully is just taking Lyle to the car as if they already know he's been found.
There's a scene missing there for sure.
I'm like, where's the surprise? Where's the concern? I don't know. It's
Where did she get the blanket, first of all?
That too. That's a horse blanket from the barn.
Oh, that does make sense. Yeah, I follow that. Well, okay. Well, first of all, I have a hard time believing that they would let Lyle go like this. Like, put him in the back of the cruiser, sure.
Yeah.
But he'd be somehow a suspect, wouldn't he? You know, like he'd be a person of interest at the very least that they'd want to question immediately.
Yeah. Especially being so close to the crime scene.
But this is a place where the plot demands that they separate. So that's why it's happening.
Yeah.
It's because they need to be separated for this to move forward. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, well, this is happening awfully quickly. And surely there are questions we need to ask Lyle about the death of his father, i.e., where were you? And did you do it? You know, would be the first two that come to mind. So yeah, him being carted off right away doesn't track well for me.
Yeah. As Scully drives off, Mulder asks Toscani blatantly, "What are you hiding?" And then he says, "I thought it was over, and I can take you to someone who can tell you what you want to know." Okay. So Mulder's persistence is paying off here.
Sure. Okay. I will buy that. That idea that Toscani has been reticent to tell the story because he doesn't want to reveal a secret that could stay buried.
Well, and I do believe that he is trying his hardest to, like he said when we first met him, he's leaving the Native American beliefs outside the law office. He's trying to be a professional. So I can buy this. You know, he's trying to keep it two things separate.
But if he doesn't want to talk to Mulder about this, surely to God, he could just say, listen, go talk to Ish. He'll answer all your Native American questions if he likes you. And if he doesn't, I'll tell you to piss off and I will be done with you. Yeah.
He's very discerning, that Ish.
Exactly. But no, he's just going to casually say, this is a funeral. I don't want to talk about this.
Right. We cut to Scully. She's at the hospital. She's checking in on Lyle. He says he picked up some bourbon, and after that, he can't really remember anything.
That's convenient.
Yeah. He has an image of his father on the front porch.
Also convenient.
It is at this point that Scully has the unfortunate duty to tell him his father is dead.
Her bedside manner sucks. I mean, she's like, your father's dead. It's just like, don't wind it up or anything.
Yeah, I don't. Let's not beat around the bush. Papa's gone. All right.
Yeah. Listen, kid, you're going to have to grow up real fast now, even though you're 26.
Yeah. He has a kind of a good reaction here. I like his acting. He does a good job. He can.
Yeah, it's true. I'll give him that.
He says he can deal with death. He sees it every day. But the thing that's bothering him most right now is that he wonders if his father's death is caused because he showed up at the funeral. And here, Andrew, God damn it, this Scully lays a hand on his in comfort. There's her bedside manner. She's being comforting. No. There's a bubble of time as long as you do it within that time.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh,
removing my previous objection. That was a crappy death announcement. Like,
your father is
deputies
dead.
from previous episodes would do a much better job.
Right.
I think Sheriff Toscani would do a better job of, kiddo, your dad got slain by a werewolf or something.
We cut to Ish's house. He's telling Mulder a story.
I was a boy.
Is that 1946? The Watkins case?
I sense you were different, FBI. You're more open to Native American belief than some Native Americans. Watkins had been attacked by an animal when he was alone in the woods. His scars healed. He was forgotten. Then the murders began. The tray goes. We realized that Watkins had been attacked by what the Algonquins call a Manitou. An evil spirit capable of changing a man into a beast. To be attacked by a Manitou causes the victim to become one.
The healed scars on Joe Goodensnake's body.
The Manitou overtakes a man by night, not by full moon. But when its bloodlust builds to uncontrollable level, the man changes to a sickening creature. It kills, releasing the savage energy. The man returns to his true self, unaware of what has happened.
It's a daily cycle. It's one hell of a problem, but
Yeah, really. Well, maybe this is legit the Manitou myth, and it's verbatim, and it's how it goes. But the other thing with the werewolf myth, of course, is it is a full moon transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not a daily thing. It is only when there is a full moon. So super dangerous then if it's every night.
I am to understand, and did not do a whole lot of research, but the Manitou is kind of like a spirit being. Like, it is not specifically a werewolf. I think they took some liberties there for sure. But
well, we never really see it. It's were-beast form, so it could be whatever you want it to be. I mean, we see it being hurtled through the air at Lyle in the beginning, so it's kind of like a sheep, to be honest. But I would like to, first of all, I'd like to point out the performance that the actor playing Ish is giving is really good. I mean, he's totally watchable, and that is Jimmy Herman, as I read on the credits page. But the other thing I think is interesting here, and again, I think this speaks to the fact that they blew their money on space. Any other episode, you would have had a flashback sequence at this point. But
it's
instead,
possible.
they're choosing to let Ish
relay
storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, and it is done so well that you can visualize it in your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually quite effective. But I think in a bigger budget episode, they would have had a pre-credit sequence that started with 16-year-old Ish seeing Watkins and seeing this happen. And then we would have the flashback again as the story is retold now. I think you'd still have the cattle shootout.
Maybe
the
beginning of Jersey Devil is Ish's story, where the cops are cornering this thing as tall as a house.
Yeah, totally. There's the better episode of both shows right there.
Mulder asks how they could possibly, once they killed Watson, how there could possibly be another Manitou that arose 8 years later. And Ish says that it crossed through bloodlines. He had a son. And here's where Toscani puts it together that it's Gwen. If Joe Goodensnake was the Manitou, so too can Gwen be. I'm going to leave that sentence in there.
I think that's marvelous. That made complete sense.
They hear a sudden noise outside. They draw their weapons and go to investigate. As they search around, suddenly a truck starts, and it's Gwen stealing Ish's truck. She is putting on a performance here. This is a fantastic scene for her, I think.
Eventually. I didn't buy the whole carjacking
Well, no,
And
not the carjacking.
I also didn't buy the sheriff's ability to stop her. Like he gets up there and literally grabs the wheel and carjacking over. I mean, it's not like he gets in there and pulls out the keys or something, but
Well, she is rather beside herself, I guess.
yeah, all right, I buy that.
She's terrified.
Yeah.
She says she saw it kill Parker. She was at the ranch. She was going to mess up the kid. She saw the dad on the porch, and then this thing attacked him.
My hopes and dreams of a Romeo and Juliet story were dashed right there when she says, I was going to mess up the kid. Would have been a much better episode.
We could just do some ADR. I was going to fuck.
That's the solution right there. Yeah.
So she wants out of town.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to the hospital. Mulder is calling for Scully, but she's gone. The doctor takes this moment to inform him that Lyle's blood work has come back, and it contains traces of his father's blood type, and it can only be there through ingestion. Uh-oh.
Okay, hand in the air. This is where I ask, is that possible? To get that result from blood work?
Well, they didn't do an autopsy on him.
I know, they just did. They drew his
So
blood.
that's the problem. I don't know. I think it's really, really far-fetched, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know how blood shows up if you drink someone else's blood.
Does it then go into your bloodstream is the question.
The way they can tell is when they're looking in the microscope, they see Lyle's blood cells, and then they see some other ones that have mustaches on them.
Wait, that's Sam Elliott. Yeah.
That's Canadian Sam Elliott.
That's not his father. That's Sam Elliott's blood. That's a problem. We don't have the rights for that blood.
I don't know that makes sense. It sounds a little far-fetched to me.
Obviously, you know why it's there. It's the plot bridge which gets Mulder to realize that Lyle is the bad guy. There are 4 other ways that we could have gotten to this point that didn't involve this incredulous blood work explanation. Starting with the least of which Mulder actually seeing the cut on Lyle and going, wait a second, he was slashed the same way as Gooden Snake was.
That's... Yeah. I mean, if Mulder... Okay, I'll save it for the end. Once Mulder realizes now, through magic of weird, crazy science,
blood work. Yeah.
We cut to a car. Scully's driving. Lyle is not looking so hot. He's in the passenger seat, looking up at... Yeah, there you go. Yeah. He's got a look on his face that says bad things are about to happen. They arrive at the ranch. Power is out. He says that shit happens. And then suddenly lurches forward and goes to the bathroom. The camera pans to a bear as if we don't know what's about to happen.
The bear is about to turn into a real living bear?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of 3 bears, actually. And they wandered into the wrong house.
I've just rewatched that scene. There's no moon in there in Scully and Lyle's drive back. He's just looking creepy. Oh, it's after the commercial. There is a full moon in the clouds. Okay, I take back my tone. But he's not looking at it. It's separated by 2.5 minutes.
No, I guess he's not. Whatever. But he's looking up. So we can assume.
He's looking in a demonic way. He's not looking up at anything.
We cut back to Mulder. He's with Toscani, and they're speeding towards the Parker Ranch. Lyle has since locked Scully out of the bathroom. She's struggling to get in. She wants to help him. She thinks he's sick, and she wants to take him back to the hospital.
Making some pretty god-awful noises. I would not be trying to get into that bathroom. I would be like getting my flamethrower out.
Well, to be fair, when he's arching his back and like roaring, I guess you could say, could be mistaken for like squeezing out a loaf. I mean, I make some noises in the bathroom.
Mike,
that I'm sure my wife could tell you about.
Talk about your diet, because that's not healthy.
It is about that hard. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Jokes for the audience. It's ridiculous. She doesn't acknowledge these sounds at all. And it's pretty intense. Yeah. But I do want to say that the transformation scene, we're talking 1994. This is pretty fucking good for a TV
where
show.
Where they spent their money on this one for sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not the suit.
Yeah.
But the transformation scene, If it did not look as good as it does, this episode would just be a lot worse.
Yeah, it is a solid. It's the best bit, actually. If you're going to look at it objectively, the transformation does legitimately look very good.
It was very good. As Scully tries to break into the bathroom with her little makeshift screwdriver, Lyle bursts out of the bathroom.
Here's Johnny.
Wood goes flying everywhere. Mulder and Toscani arrive. It's dark and quiet. Amazingly quiet, given what's just happened. Mulder shines his light on a wall and sees claw marks. He whisper yells for Scully.
There's a real missed opportunity in this to have the Scully werewolf hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why they cut. I mean, I know they want to bring their characters together and they can all do this at the end, but it's like, it's not explained how she got away and is able to hide. Like,
yeah, that's. Does he bypass her? Does he not know she's right there under the wood?
Give me a scene where Lyle is struggling with his nature and tries not to kill her. And we see the gun. There's a lot of missing in this episode.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like just one more nail in the coffin. But
yeah.
Toscani is out back, and he himself gets startled by the lion.
See, those animals are no good for anything.
It's a reminder to us that the lion is in Scully's head for obvious reasons coming up. As Mulder searches inside, he hears a growling. He turns and shoots as his light catches the worst costume you've ever seen, scrambling through the living room.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Wow.
Well, again,
shouldn't have done that scene.
Space just stole so many resources from other episodes, is what I'm going to say.
As he tracks the creature, the again, I'll say it, Spirit Halloween costume, throughout the house, he eventually runs into Scully. They start searching together. They enter a room, and in a flurry of awesome slow motion, stop motion chaos, the beast attacks. This is an obvious attempt, in my opinion, to hide how bad that suit looks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't understand why the beast is playing hide and seek with them at all.
Because
it makes for a nice little haunted house, sneaky, quiet, tense, searching moment. I get that, but
I think they needed to pad it out a few more minutes. That's pretty much it. It's like we can't end the episode here, because if he just attacks Scully and Mulder at the same time immediately, then the episode's over.
I have the beast on freeze frame from when he initially runs away from Mulder shooting at him. Mm-hmm. And that's a full-on Wookiee costume is what that is.
Yeah.
And I again come back to, how on earth does all that just go away after you shoot him? Like, it just gets sucked back into the body, or exactly. It's like, does it just explode and hit the ceiling, and then he's just buff Lyle again?
Yeah. So as the beast attacks Mulder and Scully, we hear a gunshot. The werewolf falls aside, and it's Toscani. He shot him in the back. They are shocked to see that it is now turned back into Lyle.
Yep.
And Scully's confused because he was just in the bathroom. She tries to rationalize that despite being mauled and having an animal dart away from her, a hairy arm break through the door at her. Yeah. She was attacked by the mountain lion from the bathroom.
Mulder, how did the mountain lion get into the bathroom with Lyle? Yeah. And then how did Lyle get out of the bathroom into the back room and get accidentally shot by Sheriff Tuscany? Through the wormhole is what he...
What an awful line for her. I'm sorry. Don't say anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let the audience reason why she's still Scully after this episode. Let us deal with that in our heads, okay?
Yeah.
Don't give us this half-assed, he was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then the mountain lion. What? You just had a close encounter with a fucking werewolf, and you...
But it's it's still classic X-Files where she cannot be a witness to anything legitimate.
No, I get that. That's fine. But that's the thing is, we don't know what she saw or didn't see, right? Because it all happened. He smashed through the door with his paw, his hairy arm.
Yeah.
She didn't necessarily see it. It runs away. It's a dark house. If she doesn't say anything, we can rationalize. We can explain why she's still Scully after this episode.
Yeah.
But they just chose to give her that stupid fucking line. And I'm like, oh,
well, there's so many.
Maybe I'm too harsh.
Well,
but
no. She's so smart in so many ways, except for this moment right now, for no great reason.
It's just, terrible line for her.
I mean, there's so many things that had to happen for this plot to work the way it does, and they do a better job in other episodes. But I feel like when they're writing the script and it's getting close to crunch hour where they've actually got to start putting it together, they just decide, well, I guess this will work. We'll make it work in post or something. I don't know how they justify it. But in this case, like, that is a prime example. It's like, no, you have seen this evidence. Yeah. The character we know as Scully cannot come to this conclusion. So why episode?
Yeah. But see, that's the thing is she does see things that would challenge her beliefs in science or whatever. And she's still Scully and they work, other episodes, let's say coming up, Erlenmeyer Flask, she sees the alien stuff. She doesn't, whatever happens in that episode happens, but she's still Scully. She's still rational and scientific after that.
I'm just going to come back to
it worked.
They decide that she cannot be a paranormal observer at this moment. So it is a lame way out of it, though, which is the worst part.
Yeah. So the next morning, let's wrap this up. They're leaving. Gwen has left. She was not prepared to see what she saw, and she's dealing with it in her own way. And as they get in their car, Ish calls out to Mulder, and he says, "I'll see you in about 8 years." Mulder says, "I hope not." They get their car. We get a shot of the Misty Mountains as they leave, and we hear a wolf howling.
Classic X-Files. Can't resist our villains, have to call back to the villain. I'll get this thing if it kills me. It's like, all right, we're going to have an episode again in 8 years. Is that season 9? We'll come back to werewolf territory.
They actually do come back in season 6.
Okay.
A Chinese werewolf.
Probably better.
It's all right. Not bad.
Okay.
I think I like this episode better just because of the setting. But again, that's me being biased.
Well, okay, that's interesting. So I have praised the episode for its well-researched Native American traditions, which I imagine are faithfully committed to film.
I hope so.
So I would guess that maybe all of their production time went into making that legitimate, and they just lost the thread of the plot. They had to make so many compromises to make the plot make sense that ultimately it kind of falls apart. I guess we're getting to final thoughts. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what I just said.
Okay.
Oh, I wish they'd had more of a budget for this. I think they could have done it a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think overall, I like the episode. I think it's watchable. I like the acting in it. It's shot beautifully. The lighting is awesome. I like the story. I think they do a good job, and they try, from a layman's perspective, to be as respectful as they can be with the Native American stuff, which is really cool to me. I am interested in that stuff on some level, and I'm definitely appreciative of that stuff. So when I see it handled the way it's handled here, again, I don't know if it is authentic or as authentic as you can be, but it feels that way. So I hope it is so, and it helps the episode as far as it goes. Costumes aside, I think the episode's pretty good. There is the questionable blood thing, but whatever. Overall, a very good episode. I enjoy it. It's fun. No top 20 list, but it's good.
Do you like this? You like this more than the Jersey Devil?
Oh yeah. And again, I
Which is
could be
interesting.
swayed by the setting. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think you've hit on something that I think fusing those two episodes together would make the better episode. Because there's stuff I like in Jersey Devil that and there's stuff I don't like in that one. But in a way, it kind of works better because I don't have as many questions. Like the transformation between human and werewolf is just, I can't get past that. It's like, it's either magic and you instantly zap and you are a werewolf, and then bamf, you're not again, or it's organic. It's this analog process of, as I said, American werewolf in London.
Yeah,
with the 5-minute gooey transformation. And if it's going to be that in, then how come it's not that out? So that's where I get hung up on, and I know it has to be the way it is in the plot, so that the plot makes sense, right? It's like you shoot him and suddenly he's a human. It's like, oh my goodness, if you shot him and he was a werewolf, you'd have a different episode, right?
Right.
But the only other point I wanted to make was this is another validation that Mulder can't hit anything with a gun. And that when he found Scully upstairs and she says, I lost my gun, he should have said, here, have mine, because then they wouldn't be relying on Tuscany to save them, which is a repetition trope, because at the beginning we have Papa Parker saving Lyle, and now at the crux moment, Sheriff Tuscany comes in and saves Mulder and Scully. As action scenes go, it was all right. They've had better. I thought that the hunt sequence for Jersey Devil was way better.
Oh yeah,
than it was in
the little cabin searcher.
Shapes, but yeah, this stuff works in this episode, and some stuff doesn't.
And that's the thing is, I think it's just solidly, for me, it's a good episode. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I can get behind it. I'm sucked in a little bit to the Native American aspect of it, and the setting. It's just fun.
Well, again, I think for me, it's the script. Like we've said about other stuff. Well, like I've said about other episodes, the acting is solid because I don't look at any of the actors and go, no, not selling it to me. The directing is solid because I can see everything, or it's artfully done. There's nothing that stands out as an oops. So it's the script which I look at and go, there are some obvious holes for me that if I didn't see them, I would love this episode. But I see them, and that brings me out of it.
I do have a kind of a weird side note for the end of this episode. When they were filming the second movie, and this is years and years away from this, about 14 years from now.
Yeah.
They had some press show up in the distance because it was such a secretive project that it was like fenced off for quite a distance. So they could only snap so many photos. Chris Carter had this idea to bring out a werewolf costume and throw them off. Like, and use it in the set, make it look like they were using it. I wonder if it's from this episode.
And then all the reporters would think they got a scoop because they saw it.
We think we have an idea what the next episode or movie is going to be about. But he threw them off with a werewolf costume. And I'm wondering if it was from this episode.
Oh, likely. They don't throw anything out.
No, they keep everything.
When they're going to do another werewolf episode, they're like, oh, just bring out the Wookiee costume. We already nailed that one.
But I always thought that was cool.
That is. It's cool. The other note I wanted to drop before we forgot it is apparently the town where the reservation is set on is in BC. It's called Border Town. It is a Western style studio set. It's literally made for, to shoot Westerns on. And it's inconveniently located. Like nobody wanted to do it there because it was far away from everybody. I guess it wasn't in downtown Vancouver. Imagine that. But apparently Tom Braidwood loved it because he lives 10 minutes away from there. And he was
nice.
the first AD on that.
Well, that is the end of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that, we will stop here.
I think we left this episode in good shape. Okay. Wait, no, I got better. No, I don't have better. You can't do anything with shapes.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming. It's that time, everyone, the Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/magusmediaproductions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/magusmedia, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.